Greetings and welcome to my new tutorial of how to play Realm of the Mad God and how to get better at it, because lately I have seen a lot of people having some sort of issues in figuring out the basic game mechanisms, the basic stuff like how to grind for better stats, how to get better gear in this game, and so on and so on and so on. So I decided that I will be making quick series of tutorials / guides on how to get better at this game, since like a lot of people who know me might already have noticed that I am actually decently experienced player in this game and I like helping others, so why the hell not? Anyways, first things first, even though this game does have some decently awesome music, I still generally don't like using the in-game sounds, so let's switch to some ambient music from di.fm like I often like to use. So, first thing first, you do want to register in this game. You want to use some sort of a custom email for it and so on. So I have already done that and I have already registered this game, and let's see, should be here. Let's copy paste that and let's type that password and let's get in. Now the first thing you actually do is when you press the play button is you end up in tutorial, but I kinda did a huge mistake there. I recorded for 20 minutes and basically I had my microphone muted the whole time, so I lost that, so I didn't end up in the tutorial. But I didn't do that much. All I did was I created a new name up here. I created a custom name for myself, and this comes important later on in the game, but I will basically show you where to do this later on, or you can do it in this screen too, but when you first start the game you will not be taken to this screen. Anyways, there's a total of 13 characters, and basically how you get these other characters unlocked is that you first of all you level the wizard to level 5 to get priest, then get this to level 5 to get archer, then get this to level 5 to get rogue, then this to level 5 to get warrior. But generally you do want to try to get characters to max level, which is level 20, and after level 20 you start getting fame and so on, but I will talk about those later on. And once you get them to level 20 you start unlocking these other characters down here. But for starters you always have to start with wizard, so let's log into the game, and this is the tutorial that I was talking about. This is where you would be normally get taken on when you press the play button. But this place itself won't teach you too much about the game. It teaches basically how to move with fast keys, how to shoot in this game and so on. But what we are really interested right now is the options menu, which you can open by pressing the letter O. And in this first screen there is a couple important things. First of all, to make this game much easier for your mouse hand, you do want to get this auto fire to some easy key to press. There is some points in the game where you might not want to keep constantly attacking, but those are really rare and I will tell about those later on. But for now you do actually want to use the auto fire because it's much easier that way. And the camera rotation I will tell about that much later, but for now don't mind it really. You can even keep it off when you first start the game. Anyways, then there is couple of other important things on this screen. For example, the performance stats. A lot of people don't actually think about it, but it is surprisingly important, especially if you have a little bit less optimal computer and so on. So it's important to see how much memory your game is using. So if the memory starts to get really high, you will start experiencing lag, and since this game does have permanent deaths, basically if you die you lose all of your equipments that you're carrying with you, which is one of the best things about this game as well, while it's being one of the most annoying things about this game too. But when you are not lagging, you shouldn't have the issues of dying because of the lag, so pay attention to the performance. So it's important to actually have this feature binded to some key that you can open easily, and check every now and then. Anyways, the centering of player basically means centering your view of camera angle, but I will tell about that much later on. For now, don't really mind it, but I like to bind it to some key that's easy to access while having my hand over the vast keys. Basically the movement keys, it's right next to it. So and this rotates the camera, but we don't want to pay attention to it for now. Then this tab has one really important key, and it is the escape to Nexus. Basically this key is what will save your life more than often, and it's something that you should be able to press really fast and easily. And I personally like to use the tabulator key for it because it's quite close to vast and it's easy to press, and you don't press it accidentally to sometimes get you out of places where you might not want to leave. Then rest of this you don't want to mind, but notice that you can use the inventory slots by pressing keys from 1 to 8. And in the next tab we do have the chat, and since I binded the auto attack or the auto fire toggle to T, I unbinded the tell button, but there is also a reason for this, because sometimes the tell thingy tends to bug if you somehow press the T key and so on, and it can cause some issues, but I like to bind it to some little bit uncommon key in case I wish to reply to some person who has talked to me, but it's not something you should really mind that much about. And also you can scroll the chat by pressing up and down if you wish to, for example, check some things later on, which I will be explaining, like the cases where you might want to use this scrolling. Anyways, I'll keep the offensive language on for now for the sake of the younger people. I personally don't mind it too much, but it's good to have it on sometimes. Anyways, I personally do prefer playing this game with the zero decrease angle, but it doesn't mind too much or mean too much if you do use the rotating camera, which I will be telling about more later on why it would be useful and so on. And I'll keep the trade request panel and could invite panel off for now, so I don't get spammed by either of those, which happens quite often, especially the trade requests, and sometimes it can even kill you if you start trading in bad position. But as a new player you might want to keep the trade request open in case someone wants to trade some good stuff for you to help you out. But once you get better and better at this game, you might want to keep it more often off than on. And for the sounds, I like to keep them off because I just don't really like the sounds of this game, and the music gets really repetitive very fast. Especially the weapon sounds can be really annoying if there is a lot of people nearby. But for now I shall escape to Nexus with the key that I binded before, and this is basically the safe haven for you, and you will not be attacked by anything in this area, so you can be safely here. And these kind of fountains here, they will heal you up when you stand next to them in case you are low on health, so you might want to use it if you teleport to Nexus while you are low on health. And you can see your health, by the way, here on the right side of the screen, and here you can see your level and your experience when you hover your mouse over it. And there is a couple important things about the health that I will be talking about in the next episode, but for now And here is your mana, by the way, which will be used when you use your spell, which you can see here. And this spell is what makes characters unique, basically, because the spells are always class-based, where the weapons are actually shared with some other classes. But here you can see when I use the spell, I use the mana, but that's just common sense. Anyways, here is another very important place which you want to use a lot. Basically in this vault, when I said that you use everything that you're carrying with you if you die, but if you save items in here in the vaults by dragging items from your inventory to vault, these items will be saved even if you die. So once you start getting better and better items, you will want to start saving some of the good items to this vault. However, sadly, the inventory space is quite limited in this game, so you might want to consider supporting the game by opening more vault slots once you get more further and further into this game, because the vault slot can get quite small quite fast, especially if you like playing multiple different characters. But for now, let's not mind it too much, since we don't have anything yet to save there. And here you can basically change your character, or you can also just restart the account or restart the game by pressing F5 or by going to the link again. And this will take you back to this screen where you can also change the servers, which will be quite important later on once we get further and further into the game. But for now, let's just go to Nexus, and here's also the guild hall, but we won't be caring too much about this. And in case you end up in this screen while you haven't yet changed your name, this is where you can actually change your name. So this actually is important for you to have a unique name, because it allows you to, well, not only use these colors for your characters, which you don't want to use for now because the chances are that you will be dying eventually, and it's just a waste of gold, because this costs the realm gold, which you can buy with real life money. But what it also allows you to do is to trade with other people, but you don't want to do it too often to annoy others. But if you don't have unique name, you cannot trade with other people, which is kind of good, because other people cannot also trade you. So when you first start off and you don't want to get spammed, you can just use the quest account, I guess, try out the game. But sooner or later you do want to start using the trade, and it will become really important later on when I get further in this tutorial. And also here you can see other people's gear without having to trade them. Once you learn how items look, you will be able to just see it from here. But for now, the game is awesome, but I freaking hate that pop-up. It's so pointless, and it keeps interrupting you when you first start off the game. Anyways, out here we have the realms, which basically are the places where all the action will happen. And don't worry guys, anyone who is more experienced in this game can just skip to the next tutorial, which will be more in-depth. But this first tutorial will basically be all about the basics. But anyways, when we enter here, we will be taken into this realm where you can kill the enemies. And also important thing to know is that with mouse wheel up and down, you can actually zoom in and out this minimap. And basically, the more closer to the center area you get, the more dangerous it will be. And if you teleport somewhere around here, you will more than likely die instantly. So don't do it right now. And there I, by the way, mentioned the teleport function, which I haven't covered yet, by the way. Go away, pirate. basically when you click on other people you can teleport onto them and you don't have to just keep on running around the map like I did when I first started off with the game. But anyways, for now, basically here you can see the quests. The quest monsters are generally monsters that have better loots and give more experience and so on. So it's good to go after the monsters, the quest monsters, and try killing them instead of just grinding the basic monsters for now. But there is also some other important. Here we actually got better stuff instantly. I will be talking about those other kind of monsters later on. But for now, I think this basically covers most of the basic stuff. So in the next episode, as you can see, by the way, I'm getting experience when I'm killing these monsters, but that's pretty much common sense. But anyways, in the next episode I will be getting more into the depth about how to actually level up efficiently, how to get better gears and so on and so on. And please do just die. Here we have a better rope, and here is, by the way, different kind of weapon, basically a wand, but I will be talking about those later. But until then.